who've been covering me for the past 15 years and longer. So I give honor and praise to my parents, Her Grace, Bishop Carol Ann Jackson. I give honor to Pastor Marshall Jackson, angels of this house. I give honor to my brothers and sisters in ministry who labor with me. I also give honor to my family, my mother, my grandmother, my uncle, and my friends from work. God bless you. How many of us know standing before people is not an easy task?
Tell the truth.
How many of us know that many are called, but few are chosen? And a lot of times you don't want to be chosen. You're content with just going through the world, just lollygagging until when God says it's your time. So I was going before the Lord this week, and there was a lot of things going on within my family and other people's family. And I was going before the Lord asking him, what did he want me to deliver to his people? Because one thing about this calling that God has called us to, some of my brothers and sisters to, when God has called you to deliver the gospel, he's very protective over his people. So you can't lollygag and put anything together, because the great judgment will be on you, because you are the individual who are supposed to impart the word. And the title he gave me for today is Your Affliction Has an Expiration Date. Your affliction has an expiration date. And when I was thinking about affliction, the first thing that came to my mind was learning, what is affliction? Affliction is defined as something such as a disease that causes pain or suffering, the state of being affected by something that causes suffering. When I was looking at this, I was looking at three characters who went through their processes of suffering for the gospel, which was Moses, the woman with the issue of blood, and Job.
All right.
With Moses, I'm going to put it in today's terms. Oftentimes we look at social media, we see things that are in the news of the glitz and glam of having money and fame and fortune. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Moses' story, he was hidden by God to do a great work later on within his time. Oftentimes we may second guess ourselves when we feel that God hasn't truly called us to what he's called us to do. And a lot of times the adversary puts afflictions on us to keep us from our divine calling. And with Moses, he got a snippet of what the glamorous life was. He was hanging out with Pharaoh and the family. Matter of fact, let me put it in today's terms. He had money, he had cars, he had plenty of women to choose from. And then God decided, okay, it's time for you to do work for me. So, the funny thing about Satan is that he'll give you a mirage of things and show you all the things that you can obtain just by serving him. And a lot of times he makes it unglamorous to serve God, because he's like, well, if you're serving God, you're going through all these afflictions. But how many of us know that when we go through our afflictions, we know that glory is on the other side of the affliction?
Yes.
Oftentimes when we go through affliction, we ask God, why me? Why am I going through these troubles? I've been a good person. I've served you. I prayed to you. I even go to your services. I even sacrifice my time and go to second services to hear more about your word.
Yes.
And sometimes some preachers go on for 5 or 10 hours, and then you realize you got to go home and go to sleep and be prepared for work the next day, with a praise on your lips that you got a job.
Yes.
But a lot of times we complain about what God has given us. But how many of us thought of if God took it away from us?
Yes.
How many of us thought of if he took our houses away, if he took our cars away, if he took our children away, if he took our sanity away? Where would we be? You would be in a psych ward, right?
Yeah.
Exodus 9, 1 through 7, it reads, Then the Lord said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh and say to him, This is what the Lord, the God of Hebrews said. Let my people go, so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock. In the field, on your horses, your donkeys, your camels, on your cattle, sheep and goats. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt. See, God knows who truly belongs to him and who belongs to the adversary. Because if the adversary is not bothering you, then you belong to him. We got a little quiet in here. Because a lot of times, a lot of us want to serve two masters. But then when that day comes, will you be in the Lamb's Book of Life? Or will you be cast down to the pits of hell? See, there is a heaven and a hell. And a lot of times, we pretend that it's a fairy tale. I know one of my friends told me one time, who is a Buddhist, who shared with me, what is the purpose of you serving God? You're serving a white man who's dressed in white clothing, who all his attributes, all he's ever been known for is dying on the cross. I said, well, what do you serve? He said, I'm a Buddhist. I said, so you're comparing a man who healed people, who saved the woman with the issue of blood by curing her due to her faith. But then you can't provide me any references to what Buddha has done for you. So when you go down, when the Lord calls you and when he tells you what time it is for you to go meet him in the air, are you going to be meeting Buddha? Or are you going to be meeting Jesus? Because Jesus is going to tell you, depart from me, I do not know you. Buddha was your God, Satan is now your God. Have fun hanging out with him. And when I was reading further, I was looking at Job, and we all know the story of Job. I'm just going to sum it up. He was an individual that was highly esteemed, looked highly by God. How many of us know Satan goes back and forth to heaven to petition God on our behalves? And he went to him and told him that if you allow me to touch him and ruin his life a little bit, give him some ailments, turn his family against him, turn his wife against him, turn his children against him, then he will curse you to your face and die. You see, there's a danger when you have people who compliment you or where you think you are. There's a danger when people come up and say, oh, you're so highly anointed and God is going to use you and all this other stuff. And then at the time, when you're truly not humbled, you follow them as your God. And then you allow them to tell you where God is done with you. But I don't know about you guys, but my thing is, I go before the Lord and I ask him to direct me to the right people. I ask him to order my steps. I ask him to continue to keep me in the mindset of service, because that's missing within this day and time. A lot of times we're caught up on being elevated to offices, but we're not operating in those offices. See, a lot of times God will elevate us to our next level. However, you have to operate in the office first before he takes you to your next level. But a lot of people get caught up in the glitz and glam saying, I want to be the CEO of the agency. I want to be her grace. I want to be his grace. Do you realize what comes with that? There's a lot of hell that comes with that. There's no glamour seat. Your enemy, your levels go, even though you go up higher and higher, the devil has demons that come up to you higher and higher because you are a threat to his kingdom. How many of us know we are a threat to his kingdom?
Yes.
How many of us know that we have to go through affliction to see glory? When I was thinking about all the things we've been through within this ministry, the first person that came to mind was Miss Karen. How she went through her affliction of the enemy trying to take her out. Because see, the thing is, when Satan knows who he's lost. And so a lot of times he tries to put doubt in our minds to get us to come back. By saying, I had all this stuff for you and you left me for God. So now here's what I'm going to do. Since you broke our contract of partnership, I'm going to put health on you. I'm going to afflict you with health issues. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make your life so miserable that you can't even breathe walking up the steps. That you can't stand for a long period of time. That you're going to have issues with your family members. How many of us have issues with family members? How many of us know that our family members is our first ministry?
Yes.
Tell the truth.
Yes.
See, a lot of times we tend to, when we're super Christians, you know what, I'm not even going to look at y'all because I don't want y'all to cut me. When you become super Christians, I'm going to explain to you what a super Christian is. Because Bishop Jackson had to show me this, and Pastor Marshall. when we would go to different events, you would see individuals who were high. They felt they were no one. I mean, they felt they were someone, but they were high, meaning that they had to be in front of the line. They had to go and sit on the altar with the people. They were geeked to be in your presence.
Yes.
And God forbid if someone comes and says, may I have a bottle of water? Oh, no, I can't give you water. That's for the bishop. That's for the pastor. You have to get your own water. Now, for me coming up, I didn't know all this. I didn't know you had to carry yourself a certain way. I didn't know you had to have special suits and shoes and robes to wear. I'm coming in on the Jackson and say, hey, I'm just here to support you preach. I know I got to go home and study in the next 2 hours, but I'm here to support you preach. Make sure you don't be too long. And she'll give me this dirty look like, shut up and just sit down and just keep your mouth shut. And I say, yes, ma'am. And when you see stuff like that, these are individuals who don't look at affliction. And then all of a sudden they consider themselves super Christians because they walk around thinking that everyone around them is stupid. And they think that they're the only ones that God is using. Yep. That only God talks to them. That he doesn't talk to us. You know why he don't talk to us? Because we have affliction. We have affliction. God doesn't, how is God going to talk to you? You have all this hell going on in your life. Your children acting crazy. You barely trying to put 2 pennies together to find out how you're going to pay your bills each month. Wow. Your husband, your wife left you. You're sitting there used to somebody warming you up on the other side of the bed. All of a sudden, they're not there no more.
Well, you better preach that thing,
and you sit
nephew.
there, you're like, okay, Lord, well, what happened? You know, where did the division come? But see, God prunes us for our next level. He purges us for our next level. He processes us to our next level. Because when you go to your next level, everybody's not meant to go with you.
That's right.
I had to learn
That's
that
right.
the hard way. Because people in ministry will try to pimp you for your gifts. Your friends will pimp you for your gifts. Because you become the whore and they become the pimp. And a lot of times we pimp God because we want him to move when we ask him to move. And see, that becomes a problem. Because I had to let go of a lot of people who said they were in my corner. But they were in my corner as far as what God has given me. And so you have to have wisdom. Because when you go higher, people are supposed to support you.
Yes.
They're supposed to encourage you. And the funny thing I noticed a lot of times when I was talking to Bishop Jackson, Pastor Marshall about this, we talked for a good minute, like an hour, half, almost 2 hours. We had a little life class on the phone. I probably would have been there longer if I was face to face with them in their house. And they're gonna be like, bruh, man, you gotta go. We trying to go to bed. And I'll be like, okay, let me have a little potato salad, let me get a little bit of crackers, and we can have a little powwow. And what I notice in life is that people tend to throw shade at individuals. And I was telling Bishop Jackson, I said, I've been in ministry for 15 years now. And I've learned throughout my life that people who are throwing shade are just outlining the insecurities or illuminating the insecurities within themselves. Because they want what you have. They want the confidence that you have. They want the prayer life that you have. They want the relationship that you have. They're wondering why people are bowing down to you, but they're not realizing the hell that you went through to get to where you had to get to. And see, here's the funny thing about God. I remember when Bishop Jackson was sharing with me about God was taking her a couple of years, I think it was a few years ago, where God was calling her to cover the House of Bishops. And I told her, I said, I'm proud of you because you've worked so hard to get there. And then the enemy comes in and tries to derail what the assignment is. And then the funny part about it is, now, for me, I got caught in my feelings. Because my thing is, you trying to take something from my mama.
Come on now.
Forget this cross, forget all this. I'm going to be coming for you.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I don't care if you a judge, if you are his holiness, his righteousness, his excellency,
Go ahead, baby. Stay down.
your majesty, with your eminences, whatever you are. I don't look at that. Because I look at you as you might have you might wear more clothes than me, you might wear a little colorful shirt than me. We have different assignments, we have different callings. However, you would not disrespect the person who's in charge of my destiny.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
The two individuals who are in charge of my destiny, who's in charge of providing me with a vision of where God is going to take me. You don't come and derail that.
No, you don't.
And the funny thing was, after Pentecost, she says, Devin, I got some tea to tell you. I said, well, spill it, baby. Because I want to hear it. I am now the bishop of the College of Bishops. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Well, His Holiness said this, that, and the other. I said, well, it's funny how Satan will put a mirage and elevate someone, and they think they've been called to do the job. And God will kindly just come on in and depose them. And then He elevates the one who didn't. Now, she could have took it a different way. She could have went up there and went all ratchet, took her hair out, took her rings off, took her vestments off, took her shoes off, and the posse, while we walking behind her, we were like, all right, what we gonna do? So they put the Vaseline on. Pastor Marshall, like, you need me to step in now, brother? You go up there and rest. We got this. But God handles battles, right?
Yes, it does.
And the funny thing about this is, the individual who is now her grace, who's covering the House of Bishops, will now have to educate the ones who threw shade at her at the beginning. Oh, y'all didn't get that. See, the same ones who said she wasn't qualified. The same ones who said she didn't meet the image.
Go ahead now.
She didn't meet the part. She's a woman.
Come on now.
Because God didn't call women to run ministries. God didn't call women to educate people. That's what some people think.
Right.
But see, if they do their further research, they realize that the ministry was started by a woman.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
If you really do your Bible study research, you realize that a woman was the first one to run the ministry.
Yes.
And a lot of times we need women to run ministry
Yes.
because they add that nurturing gift.
Come on now.
They nurture you.
Tell them.
They'll burn you too. Oh, I've been burned. When I would go and say, I don't feel led to do that. And Bishop Jackson said, wait a minute, hold up. Now, I can't tell you what she says behind closed doors. Because we do got visitors here, so I'm going to be dignified. But what she would say is, well, the Lord spoke to me to call you to this. So when I tell you to do something, this is not up for discussion.
Amen.
And if you don't like it, there's the door. But here's the funny thing. You can leave if you want to. Because I'm going to bring your behind right back. Because the thing of it is that I'm not done with you. I still have more nurturing to do with you. I still have to break the clay off of you.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're at a certain level. However, I have to take you to your next level. So sometimes you just have to suck it up and just deal with it. Because that's ministry. And I'm looking at her like, what? But then over the years, as I gotten older, as I gotten seasoned, I've learned it's not always best to say what you're thinking at that time.
Right.
Because you can hinder someone's spirit.
Yes, you can.
Right.
And then when you hinder someone's spirit, you can cause them to go to heaven or miss heaven.
Yes.
See, a lot of times when we're called to ministry, we're all happy that God is using us, but we don't understand the mantle that we carry. Because I don't have to be at this pulpit. I don't have to wear this. My ministry is out there in the world.
Yes.
I minister to people at work,
Yes.
at school, at the parking lot, at the shoppers.
That's true.
When you got people that got 15,000 items and all you got is 2 items and you're just trying to get to church, or you're trying to get home and eat your fish sandwich. I love fish sandwiches, by the way. And French fries, and then you got somebody there, you just want to get a soda. And then for some reason they get in front of the line and say, oh, I can't find my money. I don't know where my card, I think this card works. Use this one. And then God forbid if you're there and you forgot you got your stuff on. Because that's happened to me.
Yeah.
Your afflictions. Because then I felt myself saying something and I said, oh, wait a minute. I said, for some reason I can't breathe. I'm suffocating. Why am I suffocating? Did the cleaners shrink my clothes? But then I realized that every level you go, or every avenue you go up, God will prepare you for it.
Yes.
He will give you the tools. I always ask them, I said, God, please don't ever lift your anointing off of me. A lot of times people operate in gifts, but they have no power. Because when you sit there and you use your gifts and you're thinking, that's what God has called you to do. Instead of giving him reverence, he'll let you operate in the gifts. He'll let you lay hands on the sick. He'll let you go in the audience and let people fall out within the spirit, but there's no power. Have you ever been to places where you didn't feel the power?
Yes.
You hear all this shouting going on, and I'm like, something just don't feel right. The music is going, so you're getting them hyped up by emotional hysteria, but they don't really have God in them. They get emotional hysteria, and then they come out to the parking lot, and they can't even say hello to you. You got people that go in the parking lot, they can't even say good morning, how you doing, praise the Lord, God is awesome. Oh, God loves you. They can't say none of that. They don't even know you exist.
The truth.
Then you come and sit down and they back here saying, giving honor to God and all his wonderful people. And we're all like, who that is? Didn't I just see you in the parking lot 45 minutes ago? I say hello to you, you're like, and you walk over. So in knowing this, we have to realize that we are the blueprint to help the lost world.
Yes.
We are the individuals that help those who have lost their way to Christ. We are the individuals that are the ones who are vessels that God has used. If we constantly keep ourselves in a submitted, humble state, God will use us. And I told God, continue to keep me humble. Don't let my head get all up in the clouds. Don't let me be geeked up like I was years ago. Because I was geeked as well. I was geeked as well. I told Jackson, I said, well, Bishop Jackson, Pastor Jackson, you need me. Because without me, if I'm not up there reading the scriptures, the whole thing will fall apart. And she said, both of them just sat there and looked at each other, they smiled. And they looked back at me, they said, okay, fine. You think we need you? You sat down for a couple of months. Because you ain't ready for the next level where God is going to take you. And we can't take you with a spirit like that because you will hinder the flock. You will tarnish the flock. We can't take you to your next level until you learn the true art of servanthood. I mean, they broke me down to the point where I was sitting in the corner crying. and we ain't talking about yelling at you, because I'm used to people yelling at me. That don't bother me. But to the point of they're saying, Devin, yes, could you get the coffee? the coffee. You don't want to pull up Bible? No, baby, you can sit down and read your Bible. We need you to get the coffee. I said, okay. Devin, yes. Could you go and get our robes out the car? The robes out the car. And I've been called by God. The Lord needs me. He needs my voice. And Pastor Marsha said, use your voice and go out there to the car. And get those robes. And I sat there, and then when we have events, they said, Devin, you're serving the food. Now, I didn't understand this lesson they were teaching me. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? Serving food, getting coffee? I'm not no waiter. I'm not no host. I'm not reading the menu saying, what would you like to order today? Would you like a cheeseburger? Would you like a soda? What do you want? No. They were teaching me the ground levels of servanthood.
Yes.
Because they knew that one day they were going into higher levels and they had to make sure that all their people were in the right state of mind. Because that's how you eliminate people. You take them through the process, and if they can't survive the process, they weren't really meant to be called by God.
Amen.
They weren't really meant to go to the next level. And so after I was broken, completely broken.
Yeah.
I mean, broken to the point where I didn't even ask them what they wanted me to do. I said, get it from whatever you need. Let me get you your phone. Let me get you your shoes. You want me to get, I'm fine. And then they said, all right, okay, you ready. And I went back up, and somebody said, I think I said a prayer one time, and they said, and somebody said, oh my God, the Lord really did a mighty work on you. You did an awesome prayer. And I said, thank you. And Bishop Jack said, back, you ain't ready yet. Because you didn't give God credit. You got up and said, oh, well, thank you. What are you saying thank you for? Do you see me going up there and saying, oh, thank you. I did a really good job. I was a mighty move because I did the work. You don't see me doing that. So as long as you're under me, you will not do that.
Amen.
So I went back again. To get the coffee, to get the shoes, to be the cab driver. And then when they said it's time, then I said, okay, great. Went to the next level, everything's fine. And see, a lot of times we have to constantly keep ourselves in that mindset. I'm wrapping up, Dad. I know you're looking at the clock. I love you, dude. I gotta be obedient to my father. I don't want to take his belt off and beat me in the back room. You went too long. I told you. 20 minutes. Like, yes, sir. So in all actuality, when we look at our afflictions, never look at it as a downfall or that God is not with you. But always realize that God is preparing you for your next level and that he is elevating you for your next level and that he's preparing you to help others who are going through the same affliction. So never look at it as a drudgery, but look at it as a prize where you're stepping out of your affliction and you're stepping into glory. Amen? Amen. Amen. Amen.